Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Hangin with Hobo live. This week has been a fun week, and I say that very sarcastically. I have still been trying to recover from the power interruptions from previous just before the previous live stream. I made some pretty big decisions this week. Trying to minimize the headaches that stem from my limitations on my hardware. So the first thing I said, all right, well, regardless where I end up with my PC or Mac or whatever, the first thing I got to do is increase my screen's capability. Because a lot of the problems I was experiencing with LightBurn were due to resolution issues and scaling issues, and all having to do with the screen's resolution. And I had a high def screen. I had a 24-inch high def. Wasn't satisfactory. Wasn't good enough. Not any longer. It did well for 2+ years, but now with all the advances LightBurn's made and all the new tools they've added to it, their screen's resolution just wasn't enough. So I got two 4K, and they're 27-inch. Is that what that box says? Yeah, 27-inch 4Ks. And I'm looking at one monitor here, and I'm looking at one. It's almost like I'm at a drive-in movie. It's ridiculous. But it resolved a lot of my issues, if not all of my issues, that stemmed from resolution and screen issues. I'm curious, though, once we get into tonight's presentation, how it's going to look for you guys and gals. I can never tell half the time if I'm hearing gunfire or cars. Anyway, unfortunately, I have actually had to duck before. I mean, I heard bullets go by. Anyway, that's the lovely town I live in. So I got new screens, and I had made a command decision that I was going to go ahead and bite the bullet and get a Mac. So I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, if I make this switch, I don't want to be outgrowing the Mac in a year or 2 years. I want to be done. You know, part of the problem I have with this PC here is I don't have enough outputs. I don't have enough inputs, outputs, don't have enough of anything. And it was a pretty decent PC when I bought it 2.5 years ago. So I made a decision I was going to get a Mac, but not just a Mac. I said, all right, fine, I'll bite the bullet. I'm going to get a Mac Studio. If you know anything about Mac, you know that's the Mac. And then when I went to go buy one, it wasn't available at the Apple Store, wasn't available at Best Buy, wasn't anywhere available anywhere that anybody offered Mac. Going to the Apple Store online to order one, they're not going to be available until sometime 1st of August to middle of August. And I was like, oh, well, that ain't going to work. Not to solve my immediate problems. Okay, now I know it was a car. Anyway, I never understood. I don't understand why they think that sounds so cool. So I spent the entire week working on this PC, trying to get it up and running efficiently. And it's still limping. You know, I've mentioned in a couple of the last live streams about my mouse just freezes. That's not because of Bluetooth, and it's not because of the battery. It's because of the PC. PC is just crapping out. And I seen Chris mention he had one. It took, a crap on him today, and he's got it up and running. But we're going to. I had a request this week from, and I'm going to say it wrong, no matter how I say it. There's one or two ways it can be pronounced. Well, it's probably more than that. But either which one I pick is going to be wrong. Donald Bershland It's either Birchland or Birchline or Birchline. Donald contacted me this week about a project he needed to do, and it involved a seating chart. And he sent me an example. It was weddings and had names. And he wanted to have seats justified or tables justified one way, names justified another way, and then seating down the middle. He had a whole bunch of requirements for this particular file and wanted to be able to do it in LightBurn and use variable text. And I said, yeah, it can be done. And then he said, well, I've got two different CSV files. And I said, yeah, you can't do that. I said, you have to merge your two files or the information that you want from them onto one file, and then you can get and do whatever you want. But I didn't have time to get with him one-on-one and help him. And then we went back and forth in a couple of emails, and he finally made a comment and said, yeah, there's just nothing on YouTube that talks about how to do this. And I bet you he said that, because I sent him 3 links to 3 of my videos, and the 3 of them I think were somewhere around a total of 6 to 7 hours long. Don't tell me I ain't got a video out there about something. One of them was 5 hours long. 5 hours long talking about using variable text in LightBurn. So I don't know if he got it all figured out. I sent him an email. I don't know if Donald, I hope you're in here. I hope you got the email and you had time to join. If not, you're catching it on the replay, because I'm going to show you how to do this. It does simplify a lot of jobs, even if you're not. He's got, like I said, he's got it was a wedding list, had tables, names, and seats. And I'm not real sure why you would engrave a seating chart, but that's what he was doing. I'm sure he had a valid project. Maybe he was doing that. Maybe the bridal party wanted that as a keepsake. See who all was there. But even if you're doing simple awards, you're not doing place settings, you're not doing nameplates for your table seats. You want to have you've got a dozen trophies you're making for the little league team. Everything's exactly the same except the player name. And you don't want to sit there and type in every player name for every time you got a new trophy to go in there. This makes it slick, super easy to do. And then if it's a customer that's hiring you to do the job, if you're really smart, you don't ask them for a list of names. Tell them you need a CSV file with the names in it. Have them proofread and enter all the names for you so that they know, and if there's any issues with spellings, it's on them, not you. So some of you already I heard you ask, what is a CSV file? CSV is comma separated value. If you work in Excel or spreadsheets and you save it, it's typically saved in a CSV format, even if it's called Excel. Excels or CSV formatting. But I'm going to show you if you don't have Excel or anything else on your computer right now that does things in a CSV file, yeah, you do. I'm going to show you how to access and use Google Sheets to create your own CSV files to make this super fast. So even if you are the one that has to enter in the 12 or 20 names, you only got to do it the one time, and then LightBurn's going to do everything else for you for the entire job until it's finished. It's really a slick tool when you fully understand how to use it. So I'm looking for any major questions or comments before we got. I've already got LightBurn dialed up and examples sitting here ready to get things going. Hope one of your decisions is, I already got backups. Thank you for saying that, Jay. I got backups the same time I got monitors. I got one backup hooked up to the PC so that if this happens again, the power interrupts, not if. I've been on this corner since 1979. That's when Dad started a business right out this window. And every Saturday, without fail, sometime between the hours of 8 and noon, the city has some reason that they've got to interrupt the power service here. And it's never just off. It's just a flicker, and it's done. Flicker, maybe again. Sometimes it's off long enough to keep the TV off. There have been a couple of times we had cars in the air on electronic lifts and they were stuck in the air for 20 minutes because we didn't have power. But then other times it barely flickers enough and it doesn't even turn your TV off. And that's what happened this past Saturday. It was a fast burst and it corrupted the windows. But yes, thank you, Jay. I did get some power backup spots. I got one for the PC and one for the laser banks because you do not want to run your lasers on the same power supply backup because they don't talk well. The different types of power in it, and one can be a problem, sine wave, something. So we're not going to mix them. I'm not going to go out cheap by one, and then that causes more problems. I got different power supplies for each one. All right, let's see. Yeah, and so that 5 hour I was talking about, Chris, for variable text, that wasn't the longest one. No, sir. No, sir. All right. Okay. All right. Now we are going to go over here to LightBurn. Let's see here. Oh, and Terry's already done it. Terry's already marked me a spot. Bless you, Terry. All right. So I have on my how you doing LightBurn screen over here 3 different tables that I've mocked up, like what Don wants to have. And I'm going to show you what he sent and what he wants. And then I'm going to show you how you set it up in LightBurn. The new update on LightBurn made my LaserMatic XL way off on cam. Oh, well, they changed a whole bunch of features about the camera. I did see that. They were I guess they added multiple camera features and things like that. I don't use the camera. I do not use the camera. I don't care if it's. I love my LaserMatic. I love my roly. Say it 100 times, roly. I love it. But I don't use camera on it. I did for about 2.5 weeks, and I just realized cameras are not. They're not worth the time and trouble and headache to try and keep them accurate enough to use them. I can place my material anywhere on that bed, and within 1 or 2 turns of the head and using the framing tool, I can make it perfect every single time. And that's something I'm going to show you. Not about that, but in this using this variable text tools. Another trick I do when I do these jobs that make it extremely fast with a whole lot less laser time and making sure the laser's clear of your work area when you need it to be. So now, without further ado, LightBurn. Well, actually, you know what? We got a guest in the house. She's right there. Got a flea. Got a scratch. All right. So this is what he's wanting to have set up. Now, of course, he doesn't need this. I made this up and mocked it up for me. This is my seating chart for the Hobo book release gala. At table 1, I will plan on having Oprah and Stedman and Reese and Oliver Harmon. At table 2, we'll be joined by Sarah Jessica, Jimmy Fallon, and Dua Lipa. And lastly, Jenna Bush Hager. Those will be the first 2 tables. And these will be the seating arrangements. Now, this is what he wants. He wants to have his headers centered up top there, no problem. But then he wanted the table numbers right justified in that column. Then he wanted to have the names left justified in that column, and in the seat numbers center justified in that column. And there is what it looks like when you set it up for the variable text. And I've got the variable text hooked up. And if I come over here and say test, you see nothing happens. Okay, well, nothing happens when I hit test. What happened there? Well, if I come over here now, I got those two side by side, and they are identical in every way. And I hit test. There is your variable text doing what it's supposed to do. They are not identical in every way. As long as I hold that test button down, you can see what it's going to look like. And the difference here is one setting. Oh, that ain't who I wanted you to look at. I want you to look at me. And that one setting is one of the most common things that people forget to turn on. And we're going to show you that too. But also why I've got this right here. I've got, this is how I've got everything set up and planned to be. And I got a phone call just before sending this job to the laser, and Oprah and Stedman are on the outs again. They're both coming, but they're not really wanting to sit at the same table with one another. So I have to go and fix that. I want to show you how easy this is to fix. I'm going to come up here to my CSV file. And right now I've moved Stedman to table 2 and put Jenna at table 1. And I'm going to see here, file. I'm going to download this as a CSV file. And it just says, okay, downloaded. And now I just got to go back into LightBurn, come over here to my CSV file. I need to browse, and I need to do this one right here. That's the one I just downloaded, and say open, and it changed to that. And that quick, when I hit test, you can see Stedman's down there at the bottom now. And I didn't have to go do a whole bunch of reworking and realigning everything. It just moved him to a different table so they don't have to sit and stare at each other throughout the entire award processing for the world's greatest first-time self-published author. So that's one beautiful thing about working with the CSV files. And when you've got a long list of people, you can make edits and changes, and you're not actually having to change anything about your artwork or your design. Okay. Now, I want to show you, probably not many of us are going to want to need or do something like this. But a lot of us are going to benefit from this particular feature using this. And I'm going to show you how to set all this up. But I wanted everybody to see what we're doing and what we're talking about for people, because some people don't even have a clue what variable text is and what it will do. And down here, I have a 6.5 by 1.25 piece of wood that's going to be engraved. And if I hit test, you can see it will engrave Oprah's name on it. Okay, well, that's fine and dandy. But watch this. I'm going to reach over here and turn on my Rolly. And I've got that piece down and in the right front corner of the laser bed. So let me reset my connection for my laser. That should wake it up, send it home. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the laser to frame this. And I've got it in constant framing, so it's just going to keep framing until I tell it not to, until I tell it stop. So you can see the laser's right there. That's where it's going to do its work. Now, this is one of the features, or one of the steps that I do when I've got, when I'm doing jobs like this, where I've got to do 12 of the exact same piece, and I don't want to have to be waiting on a whole lot of travel time. I've got my project set up in a jig a lot of times, especially if it's something like this, and I want it to be the exact same and exact location, and I'm not cutting out a piece. If it's, you know, it's an actual piece that I'm having to engrave, it's going in a jig, so it's going to be in the exact same place every single time. And that's where a lot of folks who haven't got real comfortable using the framing to position their products will use the camera. But when the camera is not calibrated, it ain't worth much. So now I'm going to tell it to stop. I'm saying, okay, I'm done with my framing. And it's going to come to a stop when it gets to the end. There it is. There's where, if I did the engraving job, there's where the lasers are going to come and park. I don't want it there because the gantry's in the way, the laser's in the way. I need to get that clear of my product, but I don't want it to go home. So what I do is I use my move tab, move, and I will use my up arrow movement, and let's set my distance to be 2 inches. And now when I use the up arrow, you can watch the gantry go up 2. I hit it again, go up 2 more. Now that I know is out of the way. I don't have to worry about it. It's clear of my product. And then once I've done that, I come back over here to LightBurn, and on the laser tab, where set finish position. Where did it go? It's on laser tab, ain't it? Is it move? Yeah, I'm sorry. It was on the move tab. Set finish position right here. So it's just move arrow up. Once you got the laser where you want it to be when the project's done, click on set finish position. Now, I need to engrave all 8 of these nameplates. I've got my jig in place. Everything's, I've got my first piece in there. It's ready to go. I can send a job and engrave it. And that's what I'm going to do. Check this out. I've got this set up. And if I look at my preview, it's ready for Oprah. And she's the first name on the list up there. So that's the first name I want engraved. Now I'm going to, let's check my speeds and powers here. I need to go back over to, I need to turn off my macros. Window, go away. There we go. I'm going to increase this so we can get this done quick. Done. Okay. Now, so I've got this selected, and I'm going to hit the start button. Laser. There we go. And variable text. There we go. Now, all I'm doing is pressing the start button. And I want you to watch the laser. It's going to go through this really quick because I just sped it up and it's really small. I'm hitting start. The laser's going to come down here and do its quick thing. Did I have that in line mode or fill mode? I got it in fill mode, so I was stupid. Stop. I thought I had it in line mode. That was going to take too long. So we're going to go to line mode and say good. And we're going to go back to variable text. And we're going to reset. And all right, now, because I realized, oh man, I just blowed that up. And whatever that was on the job, I didn't check my layers and settings before I did. I didn't do my preview. Should have done my preview and made sure it was right. Comments are in the way. Well, I can drop them when we put that back up. But are they in the way for LightBurn? Kind of, sort of are, aren't they? All right. I think some people want to see the comments more than they do what's going on, but we'll see. So I just blowed up a piece because I didn't check my preview. So I've got my took that off, throwed away the trash now, and I've got my reset up. But now what I have to do is reset my variable text. And in the variable text, let's go back to laser. In the variable text right here, you have a reset button. Click that, and that resets everything back. So when you test it, it shows Oprah again. So now, comments off. When I hit start, actually, I need to send the laser to home. Rehome it because I stopped at mid job. And anytime you stop the laser mid job, it's always a good idea to rehome it and know you're starting from 0, 0. Now, when I hit start, because I've already set my finished position, it's going to come over here and do Oprah Winfrey. And I want it to run, and this is going to go fairly quick. It's already 90% complete. Once this job finishes, the laser is going to cut it out. Now it's going to jump up and go back up out of the way to its what I set for the home position. There, it's done. Now I can lift my lid, take it off, set my new piece right back in place, and look here. If I say test, it says Jenna. It doesn't say Oprah. And Jenna, where's Jenna? Jenna's there now. I didn't never paid that no attention. That's okay. Where'd Oprah go? Oprah's gone. All right, deleted one off the list. That's something that I had never paid attention to, but that's okay. Right now we're doing nameplates. So by me finishing Oprah, the laser went and parked its plate out of the way. Now that it's parked, I've loaded in my next piece, and all I got to do is hit start. And now it's doing Jenna. Ding, 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 ding. And park. Open, take it out, load, close it, hit start. Now it's doing another name, and let's go see who it's doing now. Test. It's doing Oliver. So it is auto advancing down that list. I didn't have to do anything. And I can keep just opening, replacing, opening, and replacing until I've got the 12 that I needed or the 8 that I needed here. I'm done. That is super, super, super slick. Anybody got any questions about what we've looked at here before I start showing you how you actually set all this up? It tracks completed jobs, so it starts at the correct 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, first, second, third sheet of material. It tracks completed jobs. Yeah, so it starts at the correct one. Yeah, I just never noticed that it deleted it from the list, because over here is a complete list of names. But whenever I look at the tests, those that I have engraved are gone from that list now. And that's something I have never noticed before, because honestly, I've never made a complete list I've just loaded the CSV file and hit the job and just keep loading and unloading the laser. That is so easy. You got buttons you want to do, patches you want to do that's personalized. This is the slickest way to do it, especially when you can have your customer provide you with the CSV file. So if there are any problems and no mistakes, it's all on them. All right, so apparently no questions so far. All right, let me turn this off. All right. So if you don't have and you can't afford Excel, Google Sheets. If you have a Google account already, if you've got Gmail or anything like that, you've already got a Google account. Or Microsoft account, probably is the same thing. Google Sheets is free to use. And if you're not familiar with it, close you, not close, minimize, and open you, and if you go into Google and you go to Google and you Google Google Sheets sign in. Now, since I've already got my Google account linked to it, I'm ready. Here it is, and this is a spreadsheet. And when you save it, you can go in here and create whatever you want to put in here. If you're going to be giving away or creating trophies for a car show, first column might be name, and then the next one might be year, and the next one might be make, and the next one might be model, and place. So now you've got 5 different columns, and if you were, this is not something that I would want to take on myself, but if you had someone who was doing a car show and they had a list of people who were entered into the car show, you got their name, their year, make, and model of the vehicle, and then I guess you'd be doing if you were putting in there personalized with names and first place, you'd have to do it after the show, because you don't know how they're placed until the show's over. But you could do that. You create all those names, all that information, put it all in that spreadsheet, and you save it. And here's what I did for the Oprah sheet. I've got tables, names, and seat positions. Now, it doesn't matter how these are justified in here. This is completely irrelevant. But when you get into LightBurn and bringing this information in, that's where you're going to start setting up your justification and how you want this information to be shown, if you're going to be doing it in columns, or if you needed it. Now, it's not even just about columns. I'll show you how you can screw it up doing those nameplates too if you're not paying attention to your justification. But once you've created your CSV file, and you just need to come up to File and Download, and you want to use the option for comma separated values, CSV. And when you save that, it goes down to your downloads, and right there is where I just downloaded it to. So I've got it in my downloads. So I'm done with this. Go back to LightBurn. Now, I'm going to clear. When you first open up LightBurn, or variable text rather, let's reset everything. Reset. Clear, reset. I don't understand why all this isn't resetting. Let's try closing it and going back. Variable text, window, variable text. Okay. Well, I've hit reset. And now when I hit test, the one that's formatted correctly does show nothing because it doesn't know what it is. So you've downloaded a CSV file. Now we need to link that CSV file to this variable text. You do that by hitting your browse button, and it says in my download folder. And I will use, let's see, I'm going to put Oprah and Stedman back together again. I'm going to get the one I did first. Open that. And when I test it, no, see, that's this up here. Start. See, current. I don't understand why this didn't reset, Chris, when I told it to reset. Advance by one test there. So this, boys and girls, is where you can tell it to start in your variable text and where to end and when to and advance by how many. So I've got 8 names in here. And if I only wanted to do every other name, then I would tell it to advance by 2 and test. And when I did the engraving, it's going to advance by 2 instead of here and engrave the next one and engrave the next one. But I don't understand why that didn't reset when I told everything to reset. But that's how you actually link the file to your variable text. But I got 2 of them there side by side. One changes, one doesn't, and they look identical. What's the difference? The difference is the fact LightBurn has one of those designated as variable text and not as %0, %1. What are you talking about? I've done enough of this that I don't remember how to do it. I've done enough of this that I know that every time I do it, I've got to go look and refresh my memory. And this is how you do that. Go up here to your help tab, come down here to your online documentation, and it populated off screen. So we're going to bring it over here and populate. This is the new online support and our manuals. I'm gonna come down here to search, and I will search variable. There it is, variable text, but I'm gonna look for variable text formatting. And here's your different types of formatting. You have date and time. You have serial numbers. And you merge CSV. And is that the last one? Cut settings. Oh, yeah. If you wanted to have your cut settings out there engraved, you could. But each one of these types of variable text has a different way you set it up. So right now, let's look specifically at merge CSV. Now, this is one thing that's, if you're not familiar with spreadsheets, it can mess you up. The first row and the first column are both 0, not 1. They start at 0. So whenever you, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. When you start assigning columns and or rows to a certain line or text in your design, remember that it starts with 0, 0 column, 0 row. So if we look here, this is a CSV file, comma separated value, LightBurn and laser, LightBurn, comma laser, MillMage, comma router. So that's 0 and that's 1. And here they show you an example. You put the percentage sign in front of the number of the column you want to use or row, and it will then take that value and switch it out. So since LightBurn is 0 and laser cutter is 1, it filled in, I use LightBurn with my laser cutter. So now that you see that, and we go back over here to the spreadsheet, this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. Up here, this is 0. So if someone has provided you with a CSV file and it has labels at the top of your columns, you know you're not going to start your engraving with 0. You're going to start with 1. And if we go back over here, and I unlock this, and I change that text. No, text, I mean, not offset. Change that text to 0. and test it, you see I've got something funky going on because that's not where the names start. That's where she starts. But what you have to be careful of when you're doing this is your justification. Because let's see here, we come down here to this bottom one. If all I'm doing is something like this, it's a nameplate, and I've got this text in here. This is my CSV text, and there's another switch I haven't shown you yet. But if this happened to be set up for left justification, and I take that and then I select that and I put it in the middle, that looks like that's right in the center of that. But now when I test it, it's not in the center because that text is left justified, meaning that it's going to start from the left and start typing out, and that puts it out of my position, out of place. So if you're doing nameplates, you've got to make sure that your justification, which is here, a line X, is in the middle, and then you have it centered in your piece that you're going to engrave. And when you test it, you'll see that it's right there. And that's another huge thing. If you're going to use a variable text, you want to test these with that test button and make sure it looks exactly like you're wanting it to. Now, how does that get recognized as variable text and that doesn't? Because if I unlock all of this, and I select just that text, and we look up here, it's left justified and it's normal. If I come over here to this one and select just that one, it's left justified, but there it is, merge CSV. Merge CSV. So you just type it in like regular. You put in a %1, and then you want to tell it that it's going to be a CSV variable text. And that's why a minute ago it should have shown. In fact, this is a good example. I went in and I edited this a minute ago. I backspaced out of that, and then I typed in 0. And then when I did test, it printed number 1. Well, it should have printed, I think, name. But I bet you if I select just that 0, well, no, it is. I thought maybe it didn't get changed over to CSV, but it is CSV. I was expecting that to show name instead of 1. I don't know why it did 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. I don't know. But it's wrong and it's irrelevant. I just don't know why it's not reading the top row. All right, edit, put that back to 1. And it's still CSV. All right. Now, Don or Donald, he wanted these tables justified to the right and the names justified to the left. So what I did, don't want all that. Let's do it this way. There we go. Just that. I'm going to group those. And right now, if I hold shift and put it to the right side of that block, there, that's completely and totally right justified. And this, group it and then make this one completely and totally left justified. And that's what he told me he wanted. And if we look at the preview, that doesn't look good. Tenpra. So I did what he asked, but then I just used my control arrow buttons to move that over 2 millimeters, say 3 millimeters, and we'll grab that text column and move that one over 3 millimeters. And then when we look at it, that's better. It's still right and left justified, but now it's readable. And that's why you want to test your stuff and take a look at it. Ungroup, ungroup, but you want to if I come in here and start, and almost all of us have our defaults as middle. And I say most of us might not. Some of you might have been using right and top this whole time, and you just adjust for those settings to get the results you want, not realizing that you didn't have everything justified or centered correctly, or not correctly, because there's always another way. But for me, I use middle 99% of the time. And if I come in here and I put in my percent 0, and I've got it at middle, and I tell that to go to the middle there, and then I tell it to go to the right side, and then I say 1, 2. Oh, didn't want to get that square rectangle, just my text. Move it over 1, 2, 3 mil, and I check my test. I forgot to turn on CSV. Test. All right. Well, those don't line up. Why? Because that's set at middle. These are set at the right. So come back up here to this one, and now put it at right justification. And it jumped back over to the middle of the screen again. And now when I test, it's not in the right position still, because you need to set up your justifications first. Align to the right, and then we'll move it back over 3 mil and test. And now it lines up. Priority matters. Set your justification with how you want the column to be centered up or positioned. Make sure you've got everything in the right place and the justification set. Then you select it all, you can test it, and then if you need to move over and make some adjustments, you do that once you've got it in place and justified. You can set it to use 0 or 1. Oh, yeah. Oh, and that's what I forgot to do. That's why it did what it did. And I meant to change. I knew that, and I forgot to do it. I'm telling it to start at 1, and that's why it was not giving me the. I showed you that it wasn't working because I put it at 0 and it went. But yeah. In fact, let's show that. If we look at this is 0, this is 1. And when I did this over here, and I did the text, and I changed that to 0, it was still CSV. I'm telling it to do the table. That's why it did what I did. I was telling it to do the table column. I still needed to leave that as 1. I needed to change this up here. start at 0. Oh, start at 0. Start at 0. And now when I test it, there you go. See the column names, table, name, seat. When you test it, it's bringing in all the information from row 0, the headers. That's what I was trying to show you. So if you have headers in your CSV file and they're at the very top, that's 0. So you need to tell it to start at 1. Start at 1, end at 8, advance by 1. There. All right. So any questions? Any questions? Anybody lost? Because this is a huge, huge time saver. If you've got trophies to do, awards to do, or you're making a batch of buttons and everybody's names needs to be personalized, or hats or whatever. This can make production work super simple. No questions? Did everybody already know all this? Was Don the only one that didn't have a clue on how to do this? Did I do this just for Don tonight? You're welcome, Don. No questions, no comments. All right. Well, either I did a super Don show. I don't know if Don's here or not. Radu says he learned 14 things. There is a way for it to reduce text size for really long names, something I haven't tested. You know, I read briefly about that, but since you brought it up, let's take a look at that. And not that particular feature, what I do, because I'm super lazy and I haven't figured that out yet. If we look right here and I do my test, I can see, and this is one good thing about having a column like this, or this seating chart. I can just do a quick test and look and see which name's the longest one. That's Sarah Jessica Parker. She's got the most digits there in that name. So I can come down here and I can advance Jimmy Fallon. Oh, come on. I went too far. Previous. There it is. So if I've identified what name is the longest, and if I started out with Oprah, and Oprah looked really good at that one. Let's go back up to 1 and test. Maybe it's a little bit big. I brought it down a little bit and test. Oh, I'm wrong button. Test. There we go. Oprah fills that up, and that wouldn't look terrible. But now with that size, without using the feature that Chris was just talking about, if I go straight to Sarah Jessica, that ain't going to work. So I identify my longest name in the list first. And you can, even if you don't have it in a grid like we had on the top of LightBurn, you've got it right here in a column. You can just look and see which one's sticking out the furthest. But if we learn how to improvise or utilize, I should say, the tool and variable text, it will recognize that, hey, this isn't going to work at that font size and it needs to be reduced. Let's see. Window. help, I should say. Help. Help me. Help me. Search variable. All right. Variable text offsets, variable text options. Just start with variable text. All right. Variable text. Oh, yeah, I forgot to show you bake. And for yous out there in California, I ain't talking about that kind of bake, okay? It's a different kind of bake. And for you down there in the South that love you clam bakes, it ain't that kind of bake either. Huh. Well, Bill, I'm using 2.1.01, and you just see me using continuous jog, and it just keeps you don't getting it. That could be I don't know, it could be a Windows bug, or it could be, I tell you what, it was working for me. I don't know why it works for some and not for others, but there are those situations. In fact, it's happened to me twice this week. Twice this week, while I was experimenting with Cuddle, it was no longer there. It happened to a few of yous in the live stream last week. You said, I don't have web tools. And I said, well, I do. Right here it is. And you guys are seeing it. And when I went to use it, it was gone. I had to close LightBurn, open it back up. It was still gone. Close LightBurn, open back up, and it was back. Explain that one, Lucy. And I don't know if that's a Windows thing. Did you set it and move? No, that's a continuous move is a setting in the laser settings. Let's see here. Which one do I want? I want that one. No, I want that one. There we go. And I never know which one of these is what anymore because there's so many options. Let's try going in their gear or the wrenches. Additional settings, no. G code basic settings. Enable laser on and laser the fire button, and I got it set to 1%. Enable out of bounds warning. Continuous jog, frame continuously right there. General options under basic settings, frame continuously. Make sure you've got that still turned on because, Bill, you may have had it turned on and then whenever you uploaded the new file, things got reset and you didn't load your preferences. So go into the wrench and screwdriver, basic settings, frame continuously. Now let's go back over here. Let's find that stupid, if we can, automatic offsets. No. Wait a minute, maybe let's see. Oh, is that it? Shape properties. Yeah, that's it right there. All right. So that's in shape properties. And it's not part of variable text. It's using shape properties in conjunction with variable text. So this is going to be something cool for all of us to learn. Okay. So you got that straightened out, Bill? Good, 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 good. All right. Now, yeah, we can start over. All you got to do is just wait to the end and hit play button. That's all you got to do. All right. So we're going to use shape properties in conjunction with variable text so that we can get Oprah as big as possible. And that goes against everything she's struggled with most of her life. No fat jokes. And we're going to use shape properties so that we've got Oprah as big as possible. And then when it gets to Sarah Jessica Parker, I don't have to change that font. It's going to bring it in. So let's go back over to, well, let's take 3 dogs off there, go back to LightBurn. Shape properties, I don't have open. Go to Windows, shape properties. Why are you grayed out? Is it because I had something selected? What's going on here? Oh, what's going on here? I noticed a couple of things. My macros window wasn't acting right. Now, I'm going to be one. If this thing's still not acting right, even after I invested in the 4K monitors. Window, shape properties. Some freaking smacking, schmeeking, schmack. Let me draw a shape and make sure that that ain't the problem. That's odd. Does it work? Yeah, it works. All right. It don't look right. Maybe it's because it's not docked with another one. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. This is one beautiful thing about getting a 4K monitor. A lot of you out there are struggling to dock your menus into place because you can't get them in the right spot because your screen resolutions are screwed up or you've got it zoomed in. But with the 4K monitor, I can just grab that and pop it right there and it goes in docks. I grab that one and pop. Oh, look at me bragging about it. Is it too small? Yeah, that's it. And then boom. So what made me, I was looking for that red bar, but when it's not docked, it doesn't have a red bar on it. It's still there. And it didn't show them anything a minute ago because I didn't have a shape on my work table. So I'm on. No, there we go. Docked, done, and now I want to take this right here, and with that selected, actually, you know what? I need to know what my maximum width is here. This is, in fact, we're going to set it to an easy number. We're going to tell it to go to, grab them both. Actually, you know what? Since it's, we're going to get just the inner one. Width is 170. And the height is 30. All right. So there is, in fact, I'll just get rid of that. So, and I got rid of the wrong one. Or no, I had it locked. Dummy. 170. All right. So 170 by 30. And if I want to have a 5mm border around the top and bottom, so that'd be 165, 160 would be my maximum height. Or it's going by width. All right. So width. Then if it's currently, and that was right. It was 160. So 160. I was right. I had the wrong position that way, but I want it to be a maximum width of 160. So I tell it 160 is my maximum width. and squeeze or ignore empty what? If variable text field is blank, remove the previous or following new line if present. I'm gonna leave that off because I have no idea what the heck that's talking about. All right, so maximum width is 160. Done. So now when I do my test, it didn't do it. Didn't do it. Oh. Chris is going to chase patio furniture. Oh boy. All right. If you're in YouTube, you can just scroll the playhead. Okay. All right. I don't know why that didn't work. I selected the name. I told it to squeeze to a maximum width of 160. That should have kept that to a value no more than 160. The rectangle is 170, so it should have kept it within there. Let me turn on that ignore empty thing and see what happens. And test. Nope, that didn't do anything. Huh. You back yet, Chris? Chris going out chasing. I dang it, ate my baby. Them Australians are some funny people. Oh, hey, listen. Speaking of international people, if you are a member on Hobo with Wood and you are an international member, you're someone outside of the USA, I need to talk to you. I'm having a lot of problems with international members not seeing the discounted prices on the files. Some of them are seeing full access to the website, but they're not getting the discount. Some of them are. And I don't know why. So if you're an international member, tonight, tomorrow, send me a brief email. In fact, what would be ideal would be just send an email to hobowithwood@gmail.com. Put in there, you don't have to put your name because I got your email. Put in there gold member, silver member, bronze member, whatever. You can just say gold, silver, bronze. How you're paying. Are you paying on PayPal or on a credit card? So you can say PayPal or CC. This can go in the subject line. You can just put in there gold, CC, yes. So it's your gold member, you're paying by credit card, and yes, you're seeing all of the discounts. But if you're a bronze member and you paid with PayPal and you're not seeing any discounts, no. So you can put all that right in the subject line, and I don't even have to open up the email. I can just see. I'm trying to find a common thread about why people are not seeing, because I'm even folks just right up in Canada, I cannot get the discounts to show up on their login. I don't know what. It would be different if every international person was having the same problem, but they're not. So Chris, and okay, Chris says I see 0. So Chris signed up last week, and God bless you and thank you, Chris. And he's in Australia and he's seeing the discounts. But was it you that signed up? Was that you up in Canada that you can't see the discounts no matter what we do? Discounts don't show if they're from countries that had tariffs. And yeah, no, that ain't it. Surely that's not it. All right. So Chris, I found in the instructions, and I need to go back and look at them again. But to do what you were describing and what I had seen, it's involving using the shape properties in conjunction with the variable text, but I can't get it to work. So I've got my shape properties menu opened up, and if I select that text and tell it to squeeze to a maximum width of 160, text will begin scaling. If the length exceeds this, use 0 for no limit. So I've got a max width of 160. I told it to squeeze. When scaling, squeeze the text horizontal only or scale in both directions. Okay. All right. So we're not going to squeeze. We're going to scale it. Let's see if that makes a difference. Test. Nope. It's still way too long. Previous test. Yeah, they're not working. It's not working. It's funny. Huh. Let's go back there one more time. There are 3 settings in Shape Properties windows that are useful when working with variable text. Maximum width sets the maximum possible width of selected text objects. Use this field to prevent variable text outputs from exceeding a specified width after they are converted from formatted expressions. The squeeze toggle determines whether text objects will be rescaled in both directions in order to fit with the max width value. When enabled, text will be shrunk horizontally, so left to right, if necessary, to stay within the max width, but maintain the same height. So I turned that off. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to just squeeze it together. When disabled, the text will be shrunk proportionally, and that's what I would prefer to see. Ignore empty bars. Now, I don't know what empty bars are, but I have closed out a bunch enough to see a bunch of empty bars. Empty bars instructs LightBurn to remove news lines preceding empty variable text fields when aligning text. Yeah, that's as clear as mud because I have no what any of that is. So since I don't know what it is, I guess it won't matter. Shape properties. Here's got a demo of it. It's supposed to be working. See if he's done anything any different than I had. Test, select that, go to shape properties, put in your max width. He's telling it to squeeze, so it kept the same height. Yeah, it ain't working. It ain't working. It ain't working. What are you saying? What are you saying? What you saying? It might not be it, but don't call me Shirley. Select the shape too. Now they're not selecting the shape in the preview. And you select the text and tell it because the shape is 170. Then you select your text and tell it I don't want the text to be any bigger than 160. And it should shrink it down, either squeeze it like what they've done, which will maintain the same height, and just push everything together, which I think would look funky. I guess it 6 of one, half a dozen the other. $0 in Linux as well. Yeah. Huh? Did you turn back on whatever you turned? I didn't. Only thing I remember turning off and on was the variable text, and it's worked. The variable text is working, and the resizing part's not working. Do you need to select the shape for that shape properties to be applied? No, because what you're doing, in fact, you can see right here. That's what. Who else mentioned that? Michael mentioned the same thing. But if we look right here, there's the outer perimeter, like I have mine. They're only selecting this variable text. That's the shape that you're applying these rules to. So they're only selecting the text, shape properties, set your max width, variable text, and test. And it didn't work. That works. Mine don't work. Let's try doing this. Select that, set that. We'll go ahead and do squeeze 2. Then click on variable text and test. And it don't work. It don't work. No, I thought for a minute you might be on it, but no. I thought, man, if that was that, then I was just gonna. But no. You made me think for a minute. I was like, oh boy. But I'm working in millimeters up here. And when we look at the size of that block, it's 170 millimeters wide. And when I come down here, I'm still working in millimeters, and I tell it 160 millimeters wide. Let's bring it on down. Let's tell it to do 140 mil. Variable text and test. And it don't work. Test. Oprah works and that fits in there fine. And then the next one, it don't squeeze it. It don't work. Just scale for the longest name. Well, Terry, this feature, if it would work, if you had here, we got 8 names. Easy to see which one's the longest one. But if you've got 30 names you're doing 30 buttons or 30 hats or whatever, you may or may not get the right one selected, and you might end up with 1 or 2 waste. Here, you're able to set it and say, if there's any names that get any bigger than that, you reduce it so you never have a problem. Are you sure that the max width is and not is for millimeters and not K? Yes, because I'm as sure as mud. I wish you could see that whole screen, because what I was looking to see here to see what their settings are up here for that screen, but their settings are cut off. But you can see right here, these are millimeters. So this is 10, 20, 30, about 38 millimeters. It's just under 40 millimeters for this block. And he's telling it to be 25 millimeters. And that's right, because that's millimeters. There's 5, 10, 15. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, there's 10, 20, 30. He's just under 40 millimeters. And he's telling it to be 25. So, yeah, it's millimeters, not characters. All right. Are you taking notes, Chris? I was surprised. Oh, fudge. I just drew a blank on name. this week, while I've been struggling with the computers and the towers and the PCs and the formatting and the cleaning up and the reinstalling, there was a question posed in the Hobo with Wood Facebook group, and I didn't get to reply to it in time. Oz was paying attention. None other than Jason answered the question, and I was like, "Wow, okay, he's out there monitoring our little group." Hey, Jason, if you're paying attention. But I feel like Chris, uh, you probably got a little bit more respect in that community. I trust you to take notes and push it upstream. You know, hey, says it works, and we cannot duplicate it. We can't make it happen. What are we doing wrong? I wonder. Ooh, I got an idea. This has nothing to do with their instructions, but I wonder. Wonder if we take this, move that up here, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw out a block, and I'm going to tell it to have a max width of 150 and a max height of, yeah, that, okay, well, that changed that immediately. All right. All right, that's no different than just coming up here and putting in that. What I was going to try and do is see if I could use that to, never mind, that wasn't going to work. I was going to see if I could make it change a shape. But that's merge CSV. You know what? Let's just, well, no. And then, So we can blame Chris for this squirrel. The $0 on the website is both Win and Linux, so it just got to be related to be location setting. Okay, I guess you're talking to somebody else. Sorry, Chris. $1.20, y'all talking about some Gerbil stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Who was it? Terry. If you had a large list of names and you didn't want to bother looking and try and find and identify which one is the longest one, by being able to set that up and then just tell it to run the job, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But that ain't working. If you type the same name instead of variable text, does it work? I don't know if it's going to do the same thing that I just did with that rectangle. It's going to change it instantly. Because that's just simply the shape. You're inputting the shape properties. So if I typed in here, and if I select that and I need to tell you're not able to change this, or wait a minute, this is text. Hey, it didn't work with the shape, but maybe it will work with the font. Maybe it'll work with a font, but not with variable text like they say it does. Let's try it. So maximum width is 160. We're not going to squeeze it. And it brought it down. So it's a variable text formatting problem. It's not recognizing the variable text format. Let's try doing it from scratch. Percent, nope, not percent one. Oh, come on. Not control, shift, percent one. $160. Test. Oh, I forgot to change it. See, I told you in the beginning, the one thing that you always forget to do, and I just forgot to do it myself. Once you type that in there, you have to tell it that it's variable text, CSV. And now we test. Hey, look, did that work? That worked. What the what? Okay. So the original percent one that I had down there was pre-existing. I don't understand why that made a difference, but that worked. If you type the same name instead of the variable text, does it work? Well, that worked. That worked. Because you see how big this is and how small this is. And when we do the test, this one's smaller than that. But when we test it, the upper one's much bigger. So this is working by the shape properties control. Select it. And the squeeze is on. Let's take the squeeze off and test it. And there, oh, all right. Now that affected the positioning. Ooh. So here is a problem. Oh, was I not showing you the screen? Did I misspell percent in the first one? Yeah, it's what he says. It's retaining it from the original creation. But check this out. This is a problem with the way it works. Let's go back. Test. All right, let's uh, test. All right, so Oprah's way out there. Let's get it to where it fits without any kind of scaling issues. There, that looks okay, and it's centered up. We're going to make sure it's centered up, centered and done. Now, test. There's Oprah. And let's go to shape properties. You got to select it. Go to shape properties, and we're going to tell it to have a maximum width of 160. We're not going to squeeze it. We're going to shrink it both horizontally and vertically. We're going to keep the aspect ratio the same. And when you hit test, Oprah's fine. We go to next. Graham is off. Do y'all see it? Do you see the problem? That ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. Whenever it scales it, it's scaling it horizontally fine, but it's scaling it from the bottom up because that's no longer centered. Next. See how high that is? See how high she is? And we'll make sure that it's still centered and test. And yeah, it's scaling it fine horizontally, but when it scales it vertically, it scales it from the bottom up. You give me a minute and I'll break something. So we thought it was broke, but it wasn't broke. It is working if you do it in the right priority. And I don't understand why it's holding on to that original, because I did that %0 was I copied that text from above and drug it down below. And I don't know why that made a difference, but when I recreated it with the %1 and then introduced the shape properties to it, it works. Except when you squeeze it. No, when you don't squeeze it, when you let it control both the width and the height, then it throws it off center. And that is a problem. That's something that has to be addressed. So write that down in your notebook, Chris, at your next corporate meeting, and give somebody a gentle tap on the back of the head and say, "Hey guys, we got to fix this." All right. Let's see here. If you add names and a long one is longer than previous longest one, is where the KISS method fails. Yeah. So if this won't work right now because it throws everything off center. So this is not a viable option for variable text. It's not a viable option for text period, because it's, unless you only, let's try that. Let's go back there. We only squeeze it. Squeezing it just moves it horizontally. And that should keep everything centered. Yeah, see there? And we squeeze it, or take squeeze off and test it. It bumps it up. Yep. So you want to squeeze your text. And you know what? Somebody smarter than me somewhere, whenever they designed this option, why would they bother putting that squeeze feature on there? Yeah, I think it's just somebody missed a checkbox about keeping it center justified, and now it's doing top justified, because that's what it's doing right now. It's here, and then it's being shrunk, and it's being shrunk to the top position, top justified. They need to have that reduction center justified. They need to keep everything centered up. But I started saying maybe somebody who designed it said, you know what? It just needs to be squeezed. You don't need to do that because it don't look right. And that would be opinion. But and opinions, everybody's got them. But I think it's just a matter of changing the justification on how that's scaled. So get on that, Chris. Nope. I just learned one thing from this stream that I didn't know. Well, at least you got something. There you go. There you go. It's not just a chance to be entertained by the court jester and his sidekick. No, it's way off by a millimeter. It's way off. It's justifying that whole thing up there, because the longer the name and the more it had to be shrunk, the higher it got off center. Oh, I will post it in the forum. Haven't had time to go deep with LightBurn lately. Yeah. Did you move the box? Would that change the origin? Didn't move the box. It is that's a flaw in how it's justified that in the shrinking. Because you can see real quick. I mean, it don't take, but you can see it. In fact, watch this. Whoop, oh, wrong button. Hey, Gigi. Let's do this. I'll grab a line. You stop, try to. Oh, come on. There we go. And I'll snap it to the top. And I'll grab a line and snap it to the bottom. And let's go back to 1 and test. And you see Oprah is right there within those test lines. And then we go to the next one. There, this is, I'm squeezing it. And you see how it stays right where it's supposed to? Next. These are all being squeezed. Let's get to Sarah. There you go. And it stays right where you're expecting it to. But now when we go back to shape properties and we tell it, don't squeeze it, keep it proportional. And we go back to 1 and we test. Oprah looks good. Stedman, see the top of S and G is at the top of the line. Stedman's getting high. Stedman's getting high. Reese is getting higher yet. Oliver's going a little down. Sarah's the highest one of all. See, she's almost split in the middle. But you see the top of the text is staying right there. Top of the text is staying right where it's supposed to be. So when it, oh, I keep forgetting to get off of my little puppy dog. So when it's shrinking that text, it's doing a top justification or yeah, instead of a middle justification. And I've got mine on middle, so shouldn't change that. When aligning your original 1%, is there an align vertical like you did, align right, etc.? I put it in center. I told it to bullseye the center of that rectangle. It was bullseyed, so it should have stayed right in the center. And it does horizontally, but when it shrinks it vertically, that vertical shrink is just got the wrong justification setting. That's all. It's that simple. You know, somebody just did. There's a command whenever they're telling it to squeeze or not squeeze. When they're telling it to squeeze, it's just pulling it in, and there's no upper or no top or bottom justification changing. But whenever you don't squeeze it and it's bringing in horizontally and vertically, well, they don't, in that setting, they said, okay, bring it in and keep everything, center justified. But then whenever they're bringing it down, they have it top justified instead of center justified. If they would have had it bottom justified, the top would be coming down. So yeah, it's just a quick change. No, that's Gigi. Ain't no new puppies. There ain't gonna be no new puppies. That's Miss Gigi. She's pushing 13 now. It's the boundary box. I don't think so. I think it's strictly they've got the wrong justification set on the scaling. And because here, watch this. No, come on. It's all about Gigi tonight. Here we go. All right. So let me demonstrate for yous, boys and girls, what LightBurn is doing. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. We'll bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to duplicate that and bring it over here. And I'm going to create some text. Didn't mean to do, there we go. And I'm going to bullseye that. Oh, there it is. Duplicate it and bullseye. Oh, almost at it. There. Come on. Forget it. Bullseye. Done. Now those are all centered up, but I got them. I need to group it and put it same height. So you can, I don't want any misconceptions about what you're looking at. Ungroup it. All right. Now, when I look at this text is middle and middle justification. If I set my Y to the top on that one, let's put it back in the middle. And I'm going to set this one to the bottom, put it back in the middle. And now I want to reduce this, and I'm going to have the aspect ratio unlocked, and I'm only going to be reducing the height. And you know what? Let's do this so you can still see it real good too. We'll give you some reference points. Grab my bar, put it on the top of the B, and grab that bar and bring it to the bottom of the H. All right, so now you can see they're exactly the same. In fact, watch this. I'll grab this one and grab this one. They're the exact same height, and I'm going to reduce the height. And watch what happens. Oh, I got the bar in the way. It ain't doing what I thought it was going to do. I want to get just a text. There. And there. And reduce. All right. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting to see one of these stay at the bottom and one of them stay at the top. So I might be wrong about that being, it's what it's doing though. There may not be a setting for that. They may have to program it so that it tells it to shrink. I would have thought for sure that would have had one shrink one way and the other one shrink the other way. That's interesting. Is it because of my anchor point? All right, this one is aligned to the top. If I set my top anchor point here and reduce the height, that was aligned to the bottom, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. So I set my anchor point there and reduce the height. It's still going to shrink there. And I think if I invert it, it's going to be the exact same thing, even though that's a line bottom, because I told it to be after it was aligned bottom justification, I then centered it in there. So if I set my anchor point to the top and still reduce it, it's going to, yeah. It, yeah. It's not, it's doing what I think it's doing, but there's not just a simple setting for it. It's in the programming. But I don't think it has anything to do with the boundary box, Chris. I think it's just, I think there's a command that's told it to shrink it up instead of shrinking it to center. I could be wrong. I have been. No. Yeah. I'm sure at least once. I thought you had aligned right, then backed off 3 clicks. That was, yeah, that wouldn't have anything to do with this. That was just getting it away from the edge of that graph that I created. Oh, what happens? What needs to happen is the system needs to do a bullet text after it scales the text. A bullet text. Not sure. I know what bullets are, but I don't know what the bullet text is. And I know what bullets are in text, but I don't know what you mean there. LightBurn should pay you a bug finder reward. Well, I could keep the power bill paid. Yeah, absolutely. Ding, ding, ding. Let's see where she's at right now. Okay. Oh, y'all in the way. Gigi. Yeah, I'm talking to you. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Say hey. What is it? She is not, she's not all about it. Sorry, I thought I heard you got a new rescue. No, no, I did rescue. I I have been fostering animals for decades. She was supposed to be a foster. I would have had no I had no intentions on keeping her. I rescued her out of the street right in front of this house. Chased her for a month before I finally caught her. And I had no intentions of keeping her whatsoever until she demonstrated just how intelligent she is. And it just totally blew my mind. I've never seen a dog that's as smart as this girl is. I mean, she knows I'm talking about her right now. She understands English. She has a better working vocabulary than I do. It's amazing. But I've got a neighbor that lives at the bottom of the hill here, about a quarter mile away. And that dog was an escape artist. He was a German Shepherd Husky like her, but he's a big boy. He's a big boy. He wasn't but about 6 months old, and he made two and a half of her. And that dog was Houdini. That should have been his name. She would lock him in the house while she would go and babysit. And that dog would open the sliding glass door and then climb over an 8-foot privacy fence to get out. A sliding glass door. He'd open a sliding glass door. And then he'd just be gone. Gone. He didn't care. He just dumb as a bag of hammers. La, 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 right across 5-lane highway and cars. So after about the 4th time of rescuing this dog, once I got a hold of him that time, I contacted her and told her that this dog did not need to stay with her. She could not control him. She had good intentions, but it wasn't her. It was the dog just kept escaping. And I said, he just can't stay here with you. He's starved for attention and he's not getting what he needs at home. And that's why he's getting out. So I found him a better home. So that's what you might have seen in the Facebook group or Facebook post. I didn't have him for a day. He was gone. And he's in a very, very happy home now. At least get a hat as far as for finding bugs. Put guidelines top and bottom of Hobo and change it. Hobo Y different boundary boxes. All right. Okay. All right. Put guidelines top and bottom, then change it. Change it. Thought I had what you figured out what you're talking about. Put guidelines top and bottom of Hobo. Oh, change it to Hoboy so it's got a different bounding box. I see what you're saying there. You're changing the size of the bounding box to see what it does, but I think it's just going to do this. When I change it here using the measurement tool up top and scale it, it moves top to bottom. I was trying to make it not move top to bottom. I was trying to make it move one way or the other. But you cannot scale this unless it's anchored That was what's changing it. The anchor was changing it. All right. So oh, wrong one. Dadgummit, and she's gone. There we go. All right, Hobo. All right. Now, boys and girls who don't know what the bounding box is, it's the whenever you use the rectangular framing tool in LightBurn, the box, that's a framing around the bounding box of the image you have selected. And here you can see in LightBurn the 6 squares that populate when you have it selected. That's the bounding box. So what Chris is wanting to see is how it reacted with 2 different size bounding boxes. And here you can see these are just barely above and it's symmetrical. And we look at Hobo with the Y dropping below. The Y is that bounding box is coming way down here closer to the bottom. You can see, well, when you select them both, it brings, and that's what's whenever you're framing. Where's my framing laser? Whenever you use this framing tool, it's going to laser's going to frame from here all the way over there and all the way down here and then all the way across the bottom with all that empty space. But if you use the rubber band frame, it's going to frame starting at the bottom of that, come up, come over, come down, come over, and then it's going to start going up at an angle until it comes over here to the right height. It don't frame that all that blank space. That's the difference between rubber band frame and regular frame. Squirrel. All right, so but here's the that's and if it's not a command in the programming telling it to reduce the height from top to bottom or from the bottom to the top, then the anchor point of the variable text, whenever you select that and you go into shape properties, it's ignoring the anchor point. Or was the anchor point the problem? We might be on something yet. We might be on something yet. Let's look at this and test. Test. All right. Let's go back to Sarah. Test. All right. Now, anchor point, middle. Nope. Dang it. All right. But now let's go back and see if I had the anchor point at the top when I first selected the shape properties, and that's got it hung to where it's going to shrink. Let's go back and start all over again. And if this fixes it, it just means there's still a bug. It's just a different bug. So go back over here and we're going to delete this completely. And we're going to go back to text and %1. No, come on. I got to do shift 1, %1, variable text, anchor point in the middle, variable text, CSV. Put it in the middle of that. All right, so our anchor point's in the middle, CSV, shape properties, select it, shape properties 160, and we do want to squeeze it because we want to see what happens with that. And let's go back to the beginning, test it. All right, that looks good. It's big, filling the whole space. Go to Sarah Jessica. There it is. Nah, nah, nah. Yep. See, I changed the anchor point after the fact and tested it, and it's still staying like that. But now, if I go back to that, go back to that and backspace out of that, and I got my anchor point at the top, text percent one, variable text, bullseye it, shape properties for this, maximum width. I got my anchor point at the top this time, tell it 160 and test. Oh, no, test. No, it's working. That's a video. All right, I don't know. It had something to do with my anchor point, but I can't recreate it now. I cannot recreate it. So I wonder if it had something to do. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go up here and grab one of these. Because if I do test, there's Jenna Bush Hager. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one up. I'm gonna grab that one. I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna bring it down here. Put it in the middle. Get rid of this one. Put that one bullseyed. And I'm making it bigger so I know it's going to be too big. I'm not changing the value, testing it. That one is left justified because it was in that table up top. So put it in the middle and test it. That worked. And now change the max width to 160 and test it. All right, that worked, but it ain't centered. Oh, okay, that's back to left justified. Go to that's why, because I also had those spaces in there. So now when I put that back and I center that, good, make it bigger, test it. It's way too big, make it 160 and test it, and it works. And it's scaled properly. So I don't know. I don't have any idea. I was expecting that not to work because it was a something that got brought down from the other above. But there it's working exactly like it's supposed to. It's working exactly like it was designed to work. But you seen it in real time. It wasn't cooperating. But now it is. Now it is. Now it is. Now it is. Uh Great minds. Thought it was once, but that was when I was wrong. Yeah, no. Now you confusing me with somebody else. Blessed are the cracked, for they shall have, they shall let in the light. Well, howdy. Uh, oh yeah, bullseye, not bullet. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's German Shepherd, Siberian Husky. Uh, let's see here. Do 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 do. She's being mopey right now because she's sitting here and not getting to go do what she wants to go do when she wants to go do what she wants to do. But let's see here. Do 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 do. There's my girl. That's what she wants to do. She wants to be on the road. She wants to travel. That's at Lake Michigan. That's in Ohio, Bloomington, or Illinois, I should say. That's in the camper looking out the window. That's on top of Kings Mountain at Pinnacle Point. And there's where she's getting ready to go wakeboarding and she's dreading it. Look at the look on her face. She hates it. And that's at the dog park and she's tired of the camera. And she loves sitting in front of the fireplace. So that's my girl. That's my girl. Do, do, do. She's beautiful and she's intelligent. And to all the women out there that are getting ready to hear this, this is not an insult or an attack on the female race. It is a reflection of the choices that I have made in my life. That's the smartest woman I've ever had a relationship with. If you put the two boxes back and anchor one top and bottom like you did, use the fonts. Yes. If you shrink it by the font setting, it would do exactly. Yeah. I was looking to see if it was a scaling issue, though. That's what I was after, Bruce. I was thinking that it was something that there was a setting in that shape properties that had it anchored. And then when it scaled it, it created an issue. But no, you're absolutely right. That would have done what I was, but I was looking for a scaling problem. Not so much because there I don't it's scaling it instead of changing the values of the because it's not equal. When you do the text value, changing the font size, it's moving it horizontally and vertically. But with the shape properties, you're telling it to have a maximum width. So the height may or may not get changed the same exact value. That's why it looks elongated and stretched compared to the other values. So that was a scaling issue that was going on, but for whatever reason, it started working. It started working. I guess I kept stomping at it long enough that I killed that bug. Glad I didn't lose my mind and that he got a happy home. Yes, I'm glad. Yeah, you did not lose your mind, and he is happy. He's got 3 playmates now, and that new owner of that dog we were talking about just got rescued. They didn't believe me when I said he was an escape artist. They thought I was kidding. And they took him out the first day and decided to go walking with him, and they didn't put him on a lead. He was gone. And I told him, I said, you can't do that. I said, until he recognizes he's now got a home, a loving home that's going to be attentive and people are going, so you want to keep him on. And they went and got a Great Dane crate. You know how big Great Danes are. They're small ponies. Well, they make crates for Great Danes. They are huge. And even that dog was a big dog. He still looked small in that Great Dane crate. So they put him in the Great Dane crate whenever they have to leave him at the house while they're not home till they get him acclimated to his new environment and know he's in a loving, safe place. But he's doing good. He's doing good. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anchor would have done the same thing. Align it or anchor it, either one. Well, but anchoring it's definitely was what I was trying to replicate, but it was a scaling and not a resizing issue. Try putting the dollar at the bottom and see what it does. Hey, now that's an interesting idea. I like that idea, Carl. Uh, Carl is going to try and break it again. So that's an interesting idea. Let's go in here and see what's going on. Let's get over back to LightBurn and let's get rid of them there. And let's align this to the center and the bottom. And let's take it to Oprah and test it. That's not Oprah. I must have done something. Whenever I pulled that other one out of the sink, something changed. I don't know what changed. What's happening here? Test. Oprah should be number one. Current. Oh, well, we won't worry about that right now. Let's look at see what happens when we change the size of it. Next, test, next, test, and next, test. I was looking for my, there. All right. So Sarah Jessica, L, it kept it to the bottom. That's interesting. All right. So when it's here, it's shrinking from the top and the bottom. There, it's only shrinking the bottom. And only shrinking the top. So there, the tool's doing everything it's supposed to do. What in the world it was doing before, I have no earthly idea. None. Now take the squeeze of. Squeeze off. Squeeze me. Oh, now look at that. Bullseye that and squeezes off and test. Oh, looky there, looky there, looky there. There's something funky going on in here again. I'm aligned middle. I'm bullseyed. And it's doing that. All right. We're leaving squeeze off. Percent 1 CSV. Shape properties. Squeeze off. 160. Anchor points at, that might have been the whole problem. Let's go back. I want to bring that other one back in here we had. There's Sarah Jessica, and the squeeze is on. The squeeze is on. All right, and test. Anchor points at the top. Shape properties. Squeeze off. Test. Anchor points at the top. Anchor point in the middle. No, dadgummit. I'll guarantee you that's what's got it hung up, though. Is that anchor point was up there. I don't know, but now let's try it. Now that I've eliminated that being the problem with that variable text, let's create a new variable text. %1 CSV bullseye it in the center. Squeeze off 160 and test. Nope. I killed that bug and you brought it back. All your fault. I had it killed. You brought it back. You got a fly in the house. Yeah, you just have to keep kicking it around like a can down the road. Keep kicking it down the road and eventually start working right. I don't know. What are the boxes on top of the laser? Oh, up here? That's the love letters. Love letters. I got so busy, I forgot to put our sign up that we were on the air. Like taking your car to the mechanic. It is broke until it gets there, and then it will not do it. Saw my first black dingo the other day. Oh wow, okay. Well, she's a tuxedo dog. And yes, they are huge. In fact, I got it. I got it. I got it. Got it. Got it. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Let's see. All right. So here's the dog that I rescued. Swap. So he's playing with his new roommate, and this dog's crate's back here. And this dog is a big dog. He's German Shepherd Husky, and his mouth has got that whole dog head in his mouth. He's a big boy. But there he is in his Great Dane crate. He don't look so big in that thing. So yeah, there's some big dog crates. Something different since I updated 2.1.01. My Rolly 30 seems to have lost power. There was a setting in earlier versions that was a setting for CO2 on diode that can't find it now. Any help? I'm lost on that. Uh, Chris says that's in the device setting for speed preferences. Yeah, yeah, that's. Do you want um, millimeters a minute or inches per minute or uh, yeah, that shouldn't have anything to do with your actual power. Wherever the percent is, that's where the name it placed. How about that? Don't follow you, Carl. Wherever the percent is, that's where the name it placed. Don't follow you. I'm curious about this. Yeah, the upgrade changes it from middle. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, and that's what I know, and I seen that, and we tried that though, and changing it did not affect it. It was working until Ed had me try something else, and then we broke it again. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, Terry, I'm good. I'm good. You can tell I'm laughing, cutting up. I'm moving fine. The only time I have a problem, and it's still there, but all the swelling has gone down, so the I don't have constant issue. But if I have to bear down for whatever reason with my uh, abdomen, you know, coughing and everything constricts really tight. I mean, like really deep cough or a real hard sneeze. Oh, it feels like somebody stabs me in the back, right in the lower back, like getting stuck with an army knife. So it's still there, but all the inflammation has gone away. So now uh, I only have a problem in a hard cough, sneeze, or clenching down really hard for some reason. Uh, so I try not to do any of those things. Uh, but the problem's not gone and it has not been properly identified. I know what it is. I've got, a herniated disc that's impinging on my psychotic nerve. And, but with the swelling gone down, it's no longer constant pain. So I'm good for now, but ain't nothing been fixed. And yes, Ed, he could definitely have an upstairs. And hey, he could have a bunk buddy in that thing. Uh, put bunk beds in it. If you place the percent dollar at the bottom and put the percent dollar is placed at the top, well, the percent and the dollar are all on one set of text. You don't move the text. The percent's not above or separate from there. They're all one line of text. So you can't. The percent isn't in a different position than the one. If that's what you're talking about, that's just one constant line of text. Yeah, definitely. My niece has a 160-pound Great Dane, and he fills his Great Dane crate. I guess so. They're made that big for a reason. Them big, them horses. Them horses. You don't go out to the dog park with them with a single little poopy bag. You take a shovel with you. All right. Well, I had gone down that path once before with the shape properties, and I knew about it, but I've never had a job that was so big that I had to fully embrace that and figure that out. And now I know why. uh, because I probably ran into a problem once before and finally just said, heck with it. Keep it simple, stupid, go find the longest name and make sure it all fits. But when that works, it actually works better than doing what I said. So, anyway, Wow. I just got looking at the clock. 2.5 hours. I know Don ain't still here. If he ever was here, he ain't here now. Hopefully he was able to catch some of it, or he'll catch the first half of this and learn what he needs to. And like I say, I'm gonna where Donald Birch Birchland Birchland or Birchline. So, oh no, wrong button. And go back here. Oh, try it again and see. You're talking about the percent and the one can't be moved. They are one line of text. If that's what you're referring to, you can't move one from the other. Switch. I tried to select just the percent sign. You can't, because it's just one. That's one line of text, and you can't move one above the other. So, if you are an international member and you're not seeing your discounts, I'm definitely want to hear from you, and I need to figure out the common thread on why. And actually, if you're a domestic member and you're not seeing the discounts, I need to know that too. But it has the one common thread that I have found. It appears that only international members are not seeing the discount. And I don't know if it's because of a conversion thing or what, but it don't make sense, because some of the internationals do see it, some of them don't. But I ain't figured out all the whys yet. If I move the percent down and yeah, I don't, I'm not following what you're trying to, because you can't move one of those figures. And Chris is even a little confused. Move the whole 1% down like he did. If I move the whole thing down, what are you looking to see? If I move this whole thing down like that, what are you expecting to see different? I mean, it's gonna, if I get it, positioned right, then I can get Sarah looking good like that, kind of. But then whenever you go back to one of the others, now it's too low. So it has to be centered. Uh, anyway, don't know. Don't know. You know what? It could be one of them funky Windows things. And need to highlight it like before, then highlight it. I selected it, highlight it. I don't know what you mean by highlight. When I got it selected, I can move it up and down. But And, you've got to select it, but I don't know what you mean by highlight it, because I can't move it if I don't have it selected. Yeah, not flushing out old setting when changed and setting new looks to be intermittent. Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering if it's a Windows thing, and it may not even be a Windows thing. It could be a my computer thing. Somebody mentioned about something not getting cleared out of cache or whatever. It's holding on to some settings. And once Carl says now test it. I don't, it's, see, that's too high and it's supposed to be centered. But if I move it down and test it, then that looks good. But when you get one that doesn't need to be shrunk, that one had to be shrunk. There you go. See how low that is because you moved it down. You can't. I think it's something that's hung up in the memory of the settings, either from my PC or the fact that it's a PC. I would have never, ever, ever thought that I was looking forward to the day of owning an Apple product. Never, 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 never would you have ever, if you were a betting man or woman, and I would have said you would have never won if you bet that I bought an Apple product. Uh, I still don't think you see what's happening there, Carl. Uh, because if it was, it's not putting it in the same place. Whenever the name has to be shrunk, it's shrunking it from only one direction. But it doesn't do that every time. It was only doing it when this bug was there. Yeah, 2.5 hours. It's time to go. All right, boys and girls. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you all for your support. If you are not seeing those discounts, I need to know, and I need to find a common thread about why it's not showing up, because I need my members, and my members need their discounts. So I've got to figure that out, because I made the switch from Patreon to this because it was going to allow me to keep more of the money. But now I've got less members because I can't get the thing to work right. So shot myself in the foot. But if you're not seeing your discounts, let me know. We'll get it figured out. But I got to know before I can fix it. Y'all have a good night. That one wasn't too deep. All right. I'm going to go get some medicine. We'll see you guys in the next live stream, guys and gals. Have a good night.